back to comedy. My kids got to middle school. My son was in 9th grade, my daughter was in 8th grade, and they are geeks like my Lutheran. I call him my Lutheran. Yeah, I just call him my Lutheran. No reason for a name, you know. And my mom was Jewish, my dad was Methodist. So I'm a Jew. We raised the kids Lutheran. I joined the church. They let me in. It was amazing. They let me teach confirmation and have adult responsibilities. It was just incredible. But when the kids got to that age, they were a little frightened because they're geeks. They're like their dad. My husband was like 4.0, you know, and he went to college. I did too, but, you know, it took 6 years. And I think I still have 199 credits and like 4 semi-degrees. And these guys are geeks. And my husband was a quiz bowl champion. You might have seen him if you watched, like, in the 70s. You know, I mean, yeah, after the Package family was a quiz bowl here. I don't know. But anyways, he's so smart, you guys. And then there's me, A- gym class, high achiever, thank you. But I guess I was bugging the kids because they decided that I should go back to comedy and get out of the house at night. Most kids do that. You know, usually they want you around. My kids are like, you get up like this at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're talking, except they don't talk with an accent. Mom, you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Before the coffee, you act jacked up on caffeine. If you could just focus on the house cleaning with the caffeine and the energy, it'd be fine. But you're bothering us. You want to hang out. You want to talk about feelings. You want to deal with things. You want to process stuff. We want to study. You need to go back to comedy. And that's how it happened, no lie. I called Kristen Anderson up and she told me about this show. So this show was the first time you did the show, this was my first gig. So not to get all I'll start weeping soon. And then I didn't stop. So I really had a blast and I'm wicked old now. I just turned, should I tell you? You're gonna know. You know, I'm 65.
Woo!
Thank you. I'm still standing, what's the song, right? But I figured, look, be inspired, because if anybody at 65 can keep going out and living their dream, what the heck, right? You just go do it, right? You know? Frank's got a dream, he's over there, he's going to tell Priscilla what the dream is tonight, and it's going to happen, you know what I mean? Your city's on the rise again, you know? You always are. Up north starts here. I love that so much. So, I have a friend, my next door neighbor says, yeah, I'm going up north. And I says, where? I'm going to International Falls. And I go, why bother? You could just go to Rush City. That's where I'm going. I said, go hang out with that damn walleye, you know? And I always ask you guys this, when I saw the population sign, we haven't been here since 2019, you guys were busy during COVID. We didn't care about the germs. Population went up. Good for you. Give yourselves a round of applause. The only place in America, right? What are we down to? 1.27 children per family? You know, Rush City, no. We got 8, 9, 10 kids. That's good. But when I'm doing other shows and I'm not here in a place that kind of sort of knows me, here's what happens. People hear the name Karen. Karen. Okay, because 2014, there was a woman with a wedge haircut and a fur coat and a BMW in a restaurant. The haircut was the wedge thing, the hair over the side, a little shave on the back. It's a beautiful look. It was until she did this. She went in, she's in the restaurant, she asked to speak to the manager. Total harassment. Total harassment. Put down, everything. I'm sure the chef spit in her to-go food, you know? And it became all memed out all over the place. I've had this name a long time, you know? And all of a sudden, you know, I'm going places, and I tell my name, they introduce me, and it's like, oh. And you know, especially in the Midwest, because you guys, you know, you don't kind of vocalize sometimes when you're fearful. You just suddenly leave, and the room is empty. You know? So the Karen thing, you know, and my parents weren't going to name me Karen. Because my parents were very young when they got married, 16 and 19, you know. And, oh, yeah, back then, you know the truth. They just got married, you know. And my mom's favorite food was Sara Lee pound cake. She wanted to name me Sara Lee. Sara Lee. Now, my parents met on a beach. My dad was a lifeguard with his brothers at a beach outside of Boston. It was one of those Boston Baywatch situations. Boom, I ruined prom for my mother. She says I came out with the glasses on carrying a briefcase, meant to irritate her. She wanted me to be named Sarah Lee. And, back in those days, they just put women in the hospital, you were there 2 weeks. My mom said it was the longest vacation she ever had. She still misses it, And they didn't name me because they were arguing over what they were going to call me. Finally, they settled on Karen Lee. My father was an Ivy League kind of jock guy, really great all-around athlete. And he said to me, "I'm sorry, Karen, it was fat shaming in the womb. I could not have you called Sarah Lee after a flippin' pound cake." He says, "I had that whole line of other foods. Your mother ate the whole pregnancy." You know what my favorite food was growing up? Sarah Lee pound cake. I'd take my allowance and buy one for my mother and bring it home, and my dad would come home and be sitting on the sofa watching the boob tube, and, there you go, just eating the cake. It's good. That's not funny, but thanks for listening. So I get the name. Why couldn't they have picked Ashley, Because now my name means being bitched to death on a regular basis. And I have a great day job. I work for a place that has 10 shoe stores in the Twin Cities, one St. Cloud 9. You know the place. It's shoeless shoes, sit down, fit down. The reason I tell you about this place is I need the job. If you look really close, I need that job. I have a size 10 double E men's foot. Thank you. Oh yeah, I've got the bunions. You want to talk later? Hand to toe. We could go, girl. We could go. And so shoes are expensive when you got big feet like this. I don't even know why I have the car. But I got a promotion. I left the Brownsville store and I got to be the assistant manager at Highland Park, and there's a wonderful manager there, and I love the team. I left a great team. It's a wonderful company. And I'm not just promoting them, but I just have to talk about this because it was so funny when I got there. He's a very shy man. And I said, "Hey, what's with the name tag?" He says, "Watch this. We're working our first shift together, and a customer comes in, a real Karen. But she asked to speak to the manager, and he points at me. And my name tag is the size of a Buick. It says Karen." She must have been a native Minnesotan type of Karen, because she just ran down the street. And I go right after her. "Come on back, I really want to help you. It's my first day, don't get me fired." He does that a lot. He just points to me when they want to talk to the manager. It's been a lot of fun. So, okay, wait, I gotta just look at this. Cool, okay. So my kids grew up, they lived through the fact that I went back to comedy, and I'm so excited. This is a horrible thing to say, but I wear it on my sleeve, I want to tell you. When I never took our kids, by the way, I speak a lot like my husband didn't parent them. He just took them 6 months to get to the decision phase of parenting. So I made a lot of the decisions on my own. I'll give you an example. The child is about to run across the street in front of a car. This is not something he should think too long about. It requires an immediate clutch and don't do that again, you're going to get killed by that machine. Which might be a little loud, and a therapist would say that's trauma. I softened it a little bit as we started parenting a little more, But do we have any other mean parents out there? Yeah, I'm kind of mean. If you want a cell phone in 8th grade, you need to learn how to change the toilet paper roll on a regular basis. And here's how else I was mean. We live in this awesome neighborhood in Apple Valley. Right? We're right behind the McMansions. I live in the old Orrin Thompson neighborhood that I'm proud of, because growing up in Massachusetts, if you had a 200-year-old house, that might have been new. More like 100. But here we have this beautiful red house. I didn't know we were the only red house south of the Minnesota River, and people made fun of us. And then 2 years ago, when the big winds came and the tree fell on our house, and we got the new siding, my neighbors had a meeting to decide if we should keep the house red. Except they didn't invite me. Or my Lutheran. What they did is they came over This was so funny. We saved it on the Ring app. They're screaming into the doorbell. Hi, we have some paint chips, and we also have some siding samples that we thought, and they're screaming. It's not like there's volume on this. You know, we're dying in the house. We can't even answer the door. We're laughing. It's so funny. And I felt guilty. I'm like hiding behind the door. I'm like, should we go out and talk to them? This is so funny. My husband's like, no, I'm afraid of what you'll say. True. This is a true story. So they're on the ring app going, we're leaving the samples right along the garage. You can see the lovely colors we've selected. Let's discuss, shall we? Do we need more baby shit-colored houses? You know what I mean? The taupe? What color is that green, really? Come on, you know? I had pea soup in school. That looked better. So we went with a heavier shade of red. That's what they pushed us towards. And then we had the white frame windows. And now we're up to 2 houses that are red because the people 2 blocks over decided to copy us. And I think there was another quiet meeting. Actually, they drink these women. I love it. They're so passive aggressive, but I love them. Because they know I'm sober, they don't invite me to the later bonfires in the evening. They invite me to come earlier before they get really, really, drunk. So it's fun. So the other mean parenting thing we did is I wanted to come home and go to Boston. So instead of going to Disneyland and all over the places you're supposed to take your kids on spring break, we didn't do that. We went back to Plymouth Rock. Go kiss the rock. Go kiss it. That's why our people came over there. Yeah, my relatives coming off the Mayflower with Jack Daniels. Yes. And they had great times. And the consequences of that was our son decided to apply to every college he could get into on the East Coast. And he goes to Boston College, and I am secretly happy because now I can go home and see the other 165 cousins at least twice, 3 times. So I'm ecstatic. And at that time, my grandmother was alive, and she died at 98. And her sisters are still alive. It's so selfish, And my mother-in-law was like so mad when he got accepted. He said, I'm so proud of you, but I'm blaming your mother for this. Now she's going to take you home. You'll never come back. Well, he's moving home on July 1st. I'm very excited about this. Yeah. So I don't know why I had to share that. I don't know. You bring it up, me, Rush City. All of a sudden I'm confessing things. It's not really material. It's just, I got to tell you. But here's the thing about the kids. They come home, right? And they move back in the house. And I was so mean. I started talking to my kids at like 6th grade. You want to look into scholarships and possible housing at 18. And I was, having them sell lemonade and save money. Not necessarily to move out in 6th grade, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, so he's coming back. And the other thing, this is what I'm really nervous about, though. He's going to stay with us for 3 months. We've been empty nesters for 8 years. Oh, yeah. The Amore came back, you know what I mean? The look in the eyes. Frank and Priscilla now. Yeah. It's not that it was not there before, but now you have the whole house. And I did something when the kids went to college that I had never done before in my whole marriage. Never. I never cleaned the house. My idea of cleaning the house was open that front door, and in an Orange Thompson home, you go right through into the kitchen, there's a patio door, you get that suction, and all the dirt goes out. That's what I did. Well, now when they moved out, I cleaned the floors, I washed the walls, everything was clean. Now I'm doing it once a week, it's like aerobic cleaning, because, like, you get in the house, you don't actually have to go to the bedroom and close the door and lock it. Thank you. When the kids aren't there. Things can happen right after you leave the garage and go into the kitchen. I'm scaring the heck out of Rush City right now. It's too early in the week to think of, as Mrs. Cunningham on Happy Days used to say, SEX. I used to say that to my dad and my stepmom at the table when we had guests. Karen, what are you thinking about right now? SEX. I was 6th grade. My sister, who was in 4th grade, goes, she kicks me under the table and says, good one. And I was really proud because I was an introvert with gigantic glasses. I can't believe that. And, and I didn't talk that much. Hard to believe now. So after that, my stepmother years later, she tells me, you know, I tell that story all the time, and how I knew you'd go into comedy, and it was, I kept waiting for you to do that to your grandmother, who was her mother-in-law. She says, I would have paid you to do that. And when we moved to Minnesota, I started to think that she was just very passive-aggressive. It was fun. My stepmom is from London. My grandmother, of course, were direct descendants to the Mayflower. They never got along, because my grandmother would say, we left your people. And my stepmother said, yeah, well, we pushed you right off the island. And this would happen at big events, you know what I mean? Anyways, I'm a mean parent. Here's the other thing we did. They didn't get cell phones until this event happened in 9th grade for my son. A friend of his, Robert, decided to tell the school, one of the teachers, that my kids were not safe because they did not have the correct electronic devices. Oh yeah, you know, that was a big school meeting. Psychologists, 2 police, my boss, the Lutheran, me, somebody, a lawyer, and somebody from the superintendent's office. And I come flying over from the high school that I was a lunch lady at, food service associate for you HR people. And with this personality, within 3 weeks, they had made me the lunch lady boss. These lunch lady men, they don't last long because we eat them. Yeah. Wait, how much time do I have? Oh, I'm talking too much. But I'll end the set with this vision. Because I know, no one ever believes me till I bring out the real net. You've seen it before. Yeah. So I go to the meeting pretty much dressed like this because of my polo shirt, my khakis, my spatula. No lie, I left with a spatula and the net. And I walk in the meeting, and I've learned at school meetings in things like that, you just stand up if you're in a rush. Because if you sit down with native Minnesotans, it's going to be a 5-page agenda meeting. You know. So I stood up the whole meeting. Nobody's saying anything that frightened me. And I raise my hand. Nobody calls on me. Nobody says a word. And I say, look, I get 8 lunches to start in 32 minutes. And my boss goes, she sure does. Let's get started. My boss is very passive-aggressive. She never talks. And I said, why are we here? And the psychologist raises his hand. I call on him, and he says, Robert said your kids are unsafe. They don't have the right electronics. And I'm like, is he talking about a cell phone? Because they each have 2 iPads apiece. And yes, it's a cell phone. And my son walked in the room and I said, Robert can come to dinner tonight and you and I are going to go buy cell phones. This meeting's over. And I walked out. But then I turned around and I said to the cop, the police officer, excuse me, I mean never disrespect. I said, sir, why are you here? Your husband is parked crosswise in the handicap spot. It's a $600 fine. And I just started laughing and I said, honey, we'll work this out at home, but I gotta go. And I left. But you guys, I'm gonna end on this. Wait, you need this. So here's the deal. My favorite joke that I wrote in the 80s, and Kristen helped me write this joke, and she always wants me to do it. I love the Minnesota State Fair. That's when my husband took me to get to know you crazy people, because you gotta let your hair down all year round, you guys. Why do you wait all year to wear the Crocs and the yoga pants cut off at the knees and the tube tops, you know? And you let your hair down, it's amazing. But I love the State Fair for the food. Yeah, I know I'm older, diverticulitis, everything. I take that pill because I can't have dairy, but I suck down those milkshakes because they're free. Oh my God, I still love that foot-long hot dog, my favorite food. They still must have a guy making it, though, because it's only ever 6 inches long. Thank you.